Chris, Tim and I were talking about this before the show. The district attorney has already said no death penalty in the case of the shooter on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. Even though it's first-degree murder, it was planned out. He walked into the classroom and shot the man.
Yeah, I think the man was the dead man was the suspect's advisor, and he'd taken one of his courses, I think, too.
Well, there are pictures of them together as student and teacher. Well, Chris Tim said, isn't it early to say no death penalty already? Well, I read a little about it. The prosecutor, the district attorney, ran for office and said he doesn't believe in the death penalty. He will never put forward a death penalty case in this state. He will never do it. And he won office, and so he's already said, we're not going for the death penalty because I don't believe in it. So that's his thing. I mean, interesting. No matter what, there's no death penalty there. So they'll go for life in prison, I suppose.
Something, it's you hate to see something go viral, but out of this, the campus newspaper, the Daily Tar Heel, Kelly, I don't know if you still get a subscription or not.
Yeah, I like to stay current with the Daily Tar Heel. That's my paper of record.
Well, as an alum.
But evidently the front page, I think it is today's edition, at least based on social media, is nothing but it's just full page. I guess they still have a hard copy, but it's nothing but texts that students exchange with their parents, just line after line after line after line. That's powerful. Complete with swear words like "I'm so blanking scared." Are you in a safe place? It's really actually quite riveting.
That's good. I mean, that's good journalism in my opinion.
And this is just from reports that I've heard, is that the communication between the school and the students was sparse.
But I agree with that.
That's the reporting that I hear.
I did too.
I don't know.
Well, for 2.5 hours.
They say lockdown.
2.5 to 3 hours, but they should. How about an update?
Well, I hear you, but I've heard that UNC handled that situation very, very well. That they locked it down, they got the suspect, they made sure all was clear before they let the students go back out, and that it was handled exactly the way the protocol stands for. But maybe you're right. Maybe they could have texted them to say.
I don't doubt the police's work or the school's work. It's the communication between the school and the student. The students wanted updates. How about a 15-minute update every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes?
Do you run the risk of perhaps alerting the suspect or suspects?
Maybe, if he's a student.
All you have to, maybe. But all you have to do is say, look, we're still in lockdown mode. Do not go anywhere. We know it's been 15, 20 minutes since the last update. Here's your next one. We're still in a lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
You don't have to put out any information that you don't want to put out.
Yeah.
I mean, they were taking students out of some of the far buildings that were not going to be affected by this, supposedly. So.
Right.
So that might be, I think, there needs to be a little work done on that. For the kids, I mean, that's keeping thousands of kids, keeping them, I mean, you hear what was on the front page.
Keep them informed more. Oh, they were scared to death, of course, because they didn't know what was going on. But if you give them any more information than we're still in lockdown, which I don't know that really eases your fear any, then I think Chris Tim's right, because if it is a student, then he's going to get that update too. If they say we have the suspect cornered in this building, then he'll know that.
You don't have to say that. No, don't give up the ghost. I mean, you
what can you say?
Well, I think you just give them some sort of an update, just something. Any information is better than none.
But what possibly can you say other than we're still in lockdown?
Lockdown continues.
Please stay calm and please stay where you're at.
Well, there's that. I mean, but is that really an update? I mean, if they start by saying stay locked down until you hear further instructions, all you're hearing is stay locked down, stay calm, stay locked down.
People are working on it. We have the emergency services here working on this right now.
Yeah, I guess that.
Anything is better than
just
nothing.
to keep in communication.
I mean, these are kids that are communicating all the time on their phone.
Yeah, just to hear from them.
You give them nothing.
Yeah,
and they're texting their parents. I don't know what's going on. They should know something.
Well, I agree with you in theory, but if you can't give any details, if you can't say we're close to an ending, which you really can't, then all they can say to their parents is we're still in lockdown.
Didn't it say active shooter situation or campus is in lockdown? Yeah. I mean, what else?
There's not much else you can give.
And you never know if the shooter is a student, so you might be updating them as well.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah. I mean, if you say even anything and say he's on the east side of campus, we think.
No, you don't say stuff like that. You just reassure the students and let them know that things are still going on. Don't not say anything for 2 hours.
But see, here's my thing. What if they don't need reassuring? Like, you don't want to reassure them. You want them to stay in go mode because the shooting is still active. Like, I don't think you need to update them and say,
Well, every 15 minutes, really all you can say every 15 minutes is we're still in an active shooter situation. Stay calm.
Stay where you're put.
Stay where you are.
I don't think there's anything to reassure them. I'd just be saying
it's the idea behind communication with people and letting them know that we're on it. Something's happening.
We're doing.
We're working on this. And that's all you tell them. But at least you're communicating.
You're telling them.
Isn't it nice if somebody's having surgery and you're there in the waiting room and somebody comes out maybe every hour and they say, look, things are going okay. I just want to let you know that we're still in there. We're still working. And then they go back. They don't have to say what's going on. They don't have to say that the guy just had another heart attack on the table.
Right.
They just say, hey, we're still working on it.
That's really all you can say.
That's all you have to do.
We're still working on it. Right. We're still working.
And these students were upset about it.
But if you only hear we're still working, I think they'd come out and say we didn't know anything the whole time.
I mean, it's honestly, it's understandable that the students think, hey, I wish I'd heard more. But from the school's point of view, I don't know what else they could have done.
For every review I heard was they did very well. That they handled the situation very, very well. And when by the book for what they had.
I agree with that portion. Yes.
Kelly, you're talking about your son is a student at UNC, and you wanted to comment on how it was handled. Go ahead.
Yes, we have the app that gave updates on the status, and after the initial alert, we did receive 2 other messages throughout the time that they were in lockdown, just telling students to stay where they were. There was not hearsay, which would not have been helpful either, so I felt like they handled that very well, considering the circumstances.
Okay, so you did hear it, yeah.
Were the students told active shooter, or was it just simply campus is in lockdown?
They initially, the alert said there was an active shooter on or near campus and that the situation was continuing to unfold. So they sent another update out indicating they should stay where they are and remain in the location that they were sheltering.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, if they are communicating that way, I saw some video of a loudspeaker going, armed and dangerous person, go shelter go inside. This is on the campus, as you walk around those grounds and it says armed individual on campus, go inside.
Wonder if, there's not a whole lot of video. I mean, there's tons of video of police cars, static shots, of police cars with lights flashing, that kind of thing. There were a few shots of, I think, of officers with guns drawn going down a hallway, which is just chilling. But you also may have seen students jumping out of a window.
Saw that.
And I wonder what prompted them to do that. Because if you're in an academic building,
you're supposed to say
you believe that is your safe.
That's not the lockdown. Yeah,
I know it's strange that they were doing that. Kelly, how's your son now after the fact?
He's doing well. He was thankfully still in his dorm, so he felt safe throughout the entire event. And I know there were students that were in other situations that certainly probably were more uncomfortable where they were with information. I think social media perpetuated. There were a lot of misinformation that was being sent through social media. So that creates more fear sometimes.
Maybe that's why the university keeps it at such a bare minimum. They keep it so low because there's so much. Because you're right. I heard
misinterpret, you mishear.
And social media was rampant with he's here and
there are dead people here.
Yeah.
That's true. That did happen.
Thank you, Kelly. Really appreciate the phone. I'm glad your son's okay. Patrick, you're talking about the situation, the active shooter at UNC. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? Just to touch base, I agree with what y'all said. Everything they could have said, they did say, as far as just, no extra details and just stay where you are. But something I saw on the news that really I like to see was, I guess, a part of the campus that wasn't necessarily like in direct threat. It's already been cleared. An officer in uniform, full uniform, actually came to the door of a classroom and they let him in, and he told him, hey, look, you guys are doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Just stay in here, stay low, in the corners, keep the lights off. Everything's okay. It was really nice, that little reassuring thing.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw a video of him. That's right. I did too. And I thought that was reassuring as well. When an armed police officer says, you guys are doing the right thing and you're okay. Thank you, Patrick. Really appreciate the phone call. Well, it's so crazy to say thank goodness it wasn't worse than it was. But the guy's dead. A guy dies.
Targeted.
Yeah. Oh, targeted shooting.
And when the show started a couple hours ago, they said they still have not even found the weapon.
Yeah, they haven't
which
found
I thought was a little strange.
Me too. Do you
Unless
think he ditched it in the woods?
bushes,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
And I have a question because they keep saying he's a Chinese national.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean he'll, even though he's tried for murder, let's say he's found guilty here, does he go to jail here or do we deport him?
I don't know the answer. That's a good question for our attorney.
It is.
Because you'll hear stories where it's like, well, they're actually a Canadian citizen, so instead of having him in our jail, we're just going to ship him back to Canada.
And I don't know the laws enough, but I believe our good buddy Two Wheel Hardo said if he is indeed a Chinese national, he could not legally purchase a gun.
That's right. He did say that. And so the gun is either he got it illegally or got it from somebody else. But they got to find the gun. Got to figure out where that came from.
Yeah, without the gun.
Yeah.
You see Law and Order.
Well, I studied law.
Well, see, they tried to get some people
and order
for a time, and order, but mostly law.
I've eaten Chinese.
They as have I.
When they want to take the person back out to the country they're from, usually they're like, look, this happened in New York State, and this is ours.
Yeah.
And the guy's staying here. He's not getting deported to.
Boy, they sure do.
To Europe or wherever we want to hear. But sometimes they do fight for him to come back, and they're like,
That's Law and Order 101. They want to prosecute. They want to protect the citizens of Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Yeah, they want them prosecuted
right here.
and do their time here.
Exactly.
On the no death penalty thing, did you see, I read yesterday that there was a state, I want to say maybe Alabama, that they're going to start using nitrogen for executions.
Nitrogen? Really?
They inject it or you inhale it? I can't remember.
You inhale it.
Yeah, I think you inhale the nitrogen, pure nitrogen.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what that does, and I don't know how it works, but there's 2 or 3 states that have that on the books.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you how dumb I am. Okay, do you want to know how dumb I am?
Yes.
When you said that, for whatever reason, I thought helium. And I thought that guy's last words are going to be, you know how that is, when you suck on a balloon.
I'm so sorry for all the families, all the pain I've caused.
I want to thank my God for everything I've done. Actually, you know
great.
what? I'm not sorry. I'm glad I did what I did.
That last pizza was terrific. And pineapple doesn't belong on pizza.
Yeah, it's hard to sound menacing in that voice.
I'll see all of you on the other side of hell, you sons of bitches. I'm glad I did what I did.
I regret nothing.
Helium?
Yeah.
You cannot kill with helium.
No.
You got to do that.
You might get
brain
a headache.
Wouldn't that be horrible? We're going to use helium now.
When's he going to die? He's just been doing an hour of material.
I mean, if you want to do it.
He's done the entire Wizard of Oz, the Munchkin bit.
All right, he's done, boys.
Follow the yellow brick. Yeah, we know.
The witnesses are getting tired. They're ready to go on.
I mean, if you want to lighten the moment,
They want to hit.
you can start with that.
They want to. Start with helium. Move the nitrogen if it doesn't work.